Thanks. Okay, so welcome to our community AMA. Very happy to see people joining us here for a session where we want to introduce the HOPR team and answer some of the questions that you guys may have, especially with regards, obviously, to our HOPR Genesis DAO that we started and which has seen a large number of proposals. So yeah, welcome here. I am here to talk a little bit about HOPR. And yeah, as we say, changing data privacy for good, it takes everyone. So we are very grateful for having a community like all of you who support the project, who support what we do. Because in the end, a decentralized privacy project cannot be run just by a team, but relies really on a strong community that supports the project on technical matters, but also on the creative points on how we actually run this show. Probably you guys have seen my face before. My name is Sebastian. I'm a founder of HOPR, and I'm a technical guy, although I don't get to code because we have way better people than myself here. Yeah, and you'll see some of the faces who are working on that. With that, I would like to hand over to a face that you've probably also seen, which is Jose. Jose, maybe say a few words about yourself and what you do at HOPR.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you, Sebastian. Yes, so as you have seen me maybe one or twice, either in the community calls or in previous sessions, my name is Jose. I'm the head of engineering here at HOPR. I'm very lucky to be part of the team alongside a bunch of skilled individuals. Some of the people that you have seen or heard or worked with, you can see them on the slideshow right now. We are roughly, I think at this point, roughly 14, 15 people between engineering, marketing, management, operations, design, and whatnot. So far of I have a personal experience is I have been probably 10 years plus of web engineering experience, roughly 4 years plus on crypto and blockchain. And yeah, alongside everybody in the team, we are working on the HOPR protocol. Yes. Sebastian, you're muted.
Good point. Thanks for that, Jose. All right. So with that, I would hand it over to actually somebody who is probably the person you've been talking to most, which is Matthew. Matthew, I don't know if he's with his baby right now. So if you hear some shouting, it's not Matthew shouting, but his baby. I don't know if Matthew's up for saying hi to us. Probably Matthew is busy with the diapers right now. All right. Recently, I think just now, Steve joined here in the call. Steve, you want to say, unmute yourself and say a few words what you do on the HOPR protocol?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hey, Steve.
Hello everybody, I'm Steve. I am an engineer here at HOPR. I joined around, I think about a year ago and a few months, and I've been mainly working on the core Ethereum connector and the Ethereum smart contracts. And yeah.
Yeah, actually, Steve joined us before HOPR was actually even really born. It was kind of funny that Steve actually joined us through Gitcoin, a project that many of the technical people are familiar with. So we worked with Steve through Gitcoin until he joined us when we actually set up the whole project more seriously and things got more real at the beginning of 2020. Following also, obviously, our investment round that was led by Binance at the beginning of 2020, when HOPR slowly became a real thing. All right, and with that, William and Rick, I guess you're together in the office. Do you want to say a few things? Since William is connecting, I don't know if William is able to say something.
Hello.
No, there's too much echo. William, we'll let you figure out your audio and go maybe first to Menglu.
Hello, everyone. My name is Menlu, and I'm the Chinese community manager of HOPR. I answer your questions on Telegram and WeChat, and mostly translate the information from English to Chinese for the Chinese community.
Wonderful. I think we have a growing community also in China. Very happy to see that. Very happy to see kind of the global footprint of HOPR, because in the end, it doesn't help us if HOPR nodes are only run in Switzerland or in any other individual country. We do rely on the fact that we have a global distribution of nodes in order to be resilient and not attackable by anybody. So that's kind of important. That's the reason why we reach out to community on all continents, really. Great, thank you, Minglu. I would hand it over to Reinhard, who is also in Zurich with us. Hi, Reinhard.
Hello, guys. Hello. So, yeah, great that I can introduce myself. Together with Meredith, I'm one of the 2 graphic designers at HOPR. And I got a background in brand design. The recent thing I did for HOPR was the Book of HOPR, you may have seen. And yeah, I'm looking forward to show you further projects also in the moving image. More on that soon. Yeah.
Great. We're looking forward to that, Reinhard. Thanks for that. We have a bunch of things which we haven't released yet, but I can tell you that the mastermind behind the designs and explainers and animations that will be coming up very soon is Reinhard. Very happy to have that, because many of the aspects of HOPR are very complicated, and visualizing that is a great asset. All right, and it seems now that our Zurich office is online. Handing it over to my co-founder, Rick. Rick, say a few words.
Thank you very much. So, happy to have you all. My name is Rick. I'm responsible for the business development department, taking care of HR and finance, so all the stuff tech team doesn't want to do because it's really so boring. In the other office currently with me is William and Simona, who support us in the community and the operations.
Perfect. And our most recent member of the team is Q. Q, say a few words about what you do at HOPR.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Q. Well, my official name is Chen, but I would rather go for this cool handle Q. I've actually know HOPR project for some time, but I've only been officially joined the group, joined the team very recently. I'm working as a decentralized technology architect and smart contract developer. So I'll be working a lot on the DAO from the DAO end, and I'll be, very happy to meet all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Q. All right, so that is the part of the team which is around here today to join the call. Very happy to introduce them to the wider community out here. So with that, I would like to go over some of the topics that we have been seeing over the past 24 hours on the HOPR DAO. So first of all, thank you all for engaging. I'm really seriously happy about the engagement we've seen. I've looked at a bunch of projects that obviously also use Snapshot page, notably these huge multi-billion-dollar DeFi projects. And if you look at these projects, you see like sometimes a few dozen people engaging. I would say the engagement that we get at HOPR as a project that has not even launched, that doesn't even have a token yet, is absolutely crazy. So big kudos for the community. Thanks for participating. Thanks for chiming in and pushing us forward. Now, at the same time, we are kind of at this time where the team made all decisions, right? So far, it's only been us. We have been making decisions that we thought were right. And we're at the stage where we want to engage with you. And maybe we made two big leaps here. Maybe we make two big steps, but we wanted to try it anyway, right? So we wanted to open up to the community and invite all your feedback. And The difficult position in which we are now is that we have to balance the decisions and hopes of the community with those of us who are working their full-time life on HOPR, who made all personal commitments to push this forward and who have their jobs on the line for this project. And that's not going to be easy. I'm going to be quite blunt about that, right? So when we opened up to the community, we put a few provisions in place that we would only support proposals which are furthering the development of the HOPR project and which are not, for example, blunt airdrops. Now, I understand if we give you the choice, you can yet vote for airdrops and see what happens. I understand it. That's cool. We've also seen how airdrops and DeFi work. They work well. Everybody's rich and happy. Now, at the same time, HOPR is still in its infancy. HOPR is young. HOPR is not even launched yet. So we have to be a bit careful here, maybe more so than on these multi-billion-dollar DeFi projects, that we start this governance and the joint decision-making process in a way that works towards everybody. So the difficult decision for us is to weigh the long-term success of the projects with those of you, the community who support us, but also with more recently joined members of the community. If you joined our community just a week ago or maybe just yesterday, welcome, happy to have you around, and we're standing here to not exclude you from any of the decisions that are being made. Having reviewed the proposals that we see online, we all see it on the snapshot page. What we see is that all except for one proposal are effectively giving the majority of tokens to some early supporters who were participating in the testnets. And while we appreciate those, again, we appreciate all of your input and your work that you did, we do not think that the long-term interest of the project is giving the majority of those tokens, of those 85 million tokens, exclusively to early testnet participants. This is not about rewards. This is about starting the distribution of the tokens in a way that is long-term successful. And I know that many people are not going to be happy with this, but again, I'm happy to defend this point because there's currently, as you've seen, 14 people's job on the line. So if we just dump a token, we just don't dump this token, but we put the jobs of these 14 people, hopefully soon more, at risk. And that's something that we unfortunately can't really do. So what we want to do is we want to invite everybody to work on proposals which have the long-term interests of this community and project at heart. And that is what we only see in the submission. There's actually only one submission which proposed to launch a pre-sale of only 20 million tokens for the early supporters, which bootstraps then a liquidity bootstrapping pool on Balancer. So that is what we have seen here as HOPR Association. And yeah, with that, we are happy to take questions from all of you. Feel free to drop them in the question list. There's a questions where you can submit questions that we can all answer here. We have a first question on MyEther wallet. This is not exactly a technical support session, although I can tell you even for MyEther wallet, I would suggest that you actually install MetaMask. So MetaMask is a different wallet, it's not MyEther wallet. You can export this so-called mnemonic. It's 12 or 24 words that you export and import in MetaMask. And then through MetaMask, you should be able to vote. Okay, so we got some other questions for now. Yes, so the first question is, what is the best distribution in your opinion? The best distribution, as I just mentioned, is the proposal. I don't have the link open right now, but the one that only distributes 20 million tokens to the early community member who participated and the rest on LBP, because that allows for a price finding that does not sacrifice the later joiners of the community at the profit of those early participants. Okay, we see some other questions in here. Yeah, let's bring it on. What is the point of a DAO if it gets completely ignored? That's fair, right? For us, this DAO is an invitation to get your feedback that are in line with the development of the project. We outlined that in the blog post already, right? So we were transparent about this. We talked to a bunch of people who were involved in early on, who were supporting us, who were investing, who were working behind the scenes and making HOPR happen. And what I would like to say is we are transparent about the way how we operate, right? So nobody of the team has been voting in any favor. We didn't try to swing this election in any other way. We do see where this goes. But at the same time, we want to stand by those points which we mentioned already in the post that we went out with, which is that ultimately, this is not just about a DAO experiment. Ultimately, this is about launching the HOPR protocol in a way that is successfully long-term. And if there are proposals that are not in line with that, we are willing to go against that. Because again, primarily, we're not doing DAO experimentation, although I'm personally super excited about it. Long-term, we are about launching a privacy project. All right. Maybe something for Rick is still here. Maybe Rick, you want to take the question on potential customers of HOPR and what marketing strategies does HOPR have in the near future to attract users of the HOPR ecosystem? You want to take that one?
Sure. Thank you very much. Well, as you all know, we are a layer 0 protocol, which means like on top of us, you're able to build your personal applications or any kind of applications or integrate us into your existing application in order to send data securely and totally private from A to B. So currently, we're looking for some experts in various chains who are able to, or who want to send their data even more private and secure as they might do for today. And therefore, we're more or less looking in this early stage for very clever developers who know how to work with such a protocol and then integrate it into their product or build on top of our platform their application, which means that we're helping to grow the ecosystem and get a lot of traffic on the entire protocol. Because at the end of the day, we are having now a huge network of nodes. So these nodes want some traffic in order to earn more HOPR tokens. And we want to give the community and the world the possibility to send their data private and secure from A to B.
Cool. We see a question on selling something on Uniswap or offering liquidity. This is against HOPR laws and policy. Just a clarification, I'm not a legal guy, but this is, as far as we know, not against any laws. So we don't have a problem with any of these kind of DEXs. We think it's cool if we have a way to distribute a token that is respecting and preserving the privacy of the people that are participating in it. And also, just to underline this again, we are not selling any tokens, okay? There is no direct economic upside for HOPR Association or any of the people on this call for distributing these tokens. So the tokens that we go out with are tokens that we basically drop on a decision that is proposed by the community and follow that. Right. So again, yes, we are making, we're stepping in here and saying that the majority of them are not in line with what we see as the long-term support of the project, but this is not an economic upside to us in any way. Okay. So these are tokens which initially basically just provide liquidity. So you can, if the community goes through with this proposal, buy these tokens, you can sell these tokens, but this is not a sale. And what this means is that we are not just looking for a proposal and that's answering the question, are we going to go through with it? Yes, we do defend those later joiners in the community in not providing an opportunity to just dump an arbitrary amount of tokens on the later joiners. This is something which has been heavily criticized by the entire crypto community. Yes, I've been around the crypto community for a number of years. If we are criticizing the Solanas of this world for having a VC dumping on retail game, then at the same time, we have to abide by these values also when it comes to us, right? So basically buying tokens cheap and dumping at 10x in 3 weeks down the line, it is the same thing that we criticize for the Solanas of this world. It is the same values that we have to abide by when it comes to ourselves. And that's why, yes, we as HOPR Association are supporting so far only one proposal. And again, we would have liked to see different proposals. We had a lot of good discussions on Telegram. So also that is something we're factoring in here. We had a lot of great suggestions, which we unfortunately didn't see in proposals. We had some suggestions to go through centralized platforms, such as we've heard Polkastarter. I think we've heard CoinList. So we've not really seen that in the majority of the proposals. That's something that could have come up. So far, that's not something we saw. All right, let me just scroll through the list of questions. So we have another question. Do we think LBP is better than Uniswap? What are the advantages? So again, what the community seems to have come up with an LBP instead of Uniswap, but it makes sense. The problem is on Uniswap, you just need to collect a lot of upfront capital. So if we have a large amount of upfront capital, that is, of course, something you can do. Since, again, HOPR is a small cap project, it is not something that, we can just decide to drop $2 million onto Uniswap. Otherwise, maybe, yes, we would have done it. We don't have that. Yeah. Anybody else wants to pick some questions? We have a question about competitors. Yes, we're not alone in the space. So there's a bunch of projects out there. This whole space is not new. We do see that there's projects. There's obviously Tor, right? Tor's been around for a long time, which is not incentivized, but is also a privacy project that doesn't have any incentives and therefore didn't manage to grow very much significantly. Like we are on the same order of magnitude of number of nodes in our testnet that Tor has already today. So there are some projects like that. In the crypto space, more specifically, there's projects such as Loki. I think Loki has recently pivoted a bit more towards some cross-chain DeFi. There's projects such as Orchid. Orchid is a little bit more in the game of decentralized VPNs. And then there's, of course, also NIM. So NIM is working in a similar direction, also working on a mixnet, although working in a bit more centralized project that is working on a kind of more centralized chain and on more service provider-based architecture than HOPR is. Good. So there's a question, what do you think about the current leading proposal with 50 million for early adopters with $800 allocation and 30 million for LBP? I would turn this question around, like, imagine you're not in, right? Imagine you are not part of the early contributors. Would you buy on LBP? Let's say there is 50 million tokens that have been sold for 5 cents on a pre-sale to some entitled select number of participants. Would you buy for 3x that price on LBP? Would you bank on the fact that this larger number that vastly outnumbers you could at any time dump these tokens on you? this is not just a question for LBP, but also afterwards for Uniswap, right? If the majority of the initial circulating supply has been given to a small crowd, admittedly, which did great work, for which they received some tokens, this is not a reward, right? So would I buy myself into that? Probably not. Would the majority of our community members buy into that? I'm quite sure they wouldn't. So that's why we don't think that is a safe way of going forward.
And to add, Sebastian, here, it's yes, this received a lot of votes. This is absolutely true, but we as a company do not believe that it's beneficial to go down a road which will then dump a lot of token onto people who supported the project. But if that token afterwards is very quickly worth nothing, then this is not for the greater benefit of the HOPR project.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Rick. So some more questions on the Genesis DAO. How many participants are in the HOPR Genesis DAO? Actually, you can see that if you check out the token on the XDAI Blockchain Explorer, you can see that currently there's a little bit over 3,000 participants in the Genesis DAO. We've seen some proposals, I think, had around 500 votes. So we had a little bit under 20% of people participating, which I think is not bad at all. Roadmap questions. Great question. So we are continuously having testnets. So I might give it over to maybe Jose, who will say a few words about next testnet and maybe some features, what we want to bring in those testnets and how it looks like for mainnet, what we still want to do. Maybe you can say a few words on that, Jose.
Definitely happy to jump in. So as some of you have been following on our Discord channel and made some comments about our GitHub, we had made a few updates, and we are going to still have a few chances to run a few HOPR nodes. So we're still going to have a few interactions with some of the nodes, some people in the incoming weeks, right? So we're going to announce some of these interactions for fine-tuning the protocol, and just as we getting closer to mainnet, right? So the best way to be up to date with a roadmap is probably following our GitHub releases and our GitHub issues. As you all know, and I say this multiple times, we are an open source project, so we try to make everything as transparent as possible. And all our code it's on GitHub, and all the interactions that we do on a daily basis with the team, it's available there. In terms of a longer map in terms of DeFi and interactions, we're talking with a couple. There's two parts, right? So one part is we're going to be starting exploring the idea of building on top of the protocol. As I described it in multiple times, we do the HOPR protocol, and of course all the nodes running the protocol is the highway, right? So we are fine-tuning the highway. We're making sure that it's able to withstand the X amount of cars, and everything is working. That is the process we have been doing over the past year. And the moment that we feel the highway is ready and that we approach a more stable release, we're going to start inviting a few cars on, right? So we're going to be exploring probably in Q2, probably maybe at the end of Q3, interactions with developing some actual applications and some grant programs on top of HOPR. But the first thing first is that we need to fine tune the protocol and making sure that the protocol is ready. Regarding other particular projects, so we explained a couple times, HOPR is made by three main components, right? So one of them is the on-chain section, the smart contracts, the blockchain interaction. The second thing is the peer-to-peer communication, so the way we connect nodes between each other, and we leverage on P2P as our layer of communication. And last but not least is the computation or cryptography that protects the packets that are being passed around, right? So we are looking in some projects. It's still a little bit too early to say, to maybe replace some of the way we do some things, right? To give you an example, right now, all HOPR is mostly on the Ethereum virtual machine. it's compatible only with Ethereum virtual machine. That does not mean that we might not be able to replace the payment layer or the blockchain layer with other blockchains. That is, again, something we might explore for Q2 and Q3, particularly because right now, for instance, the prices of Ethereum are a little bit too expensive. We have been talking with one or two projects out there. We have done in the past an interaction and implementation of HOPR protocol with the Web3 Foundation a long time ago. And we might pick up in the future other interactions with other projects just to help ease or work on some of the capabilities of the HOPR protocol. And that's it.
Thanks, Jose. Thanks for clarifying some of the pipeline that is ahead of us. So ahead of us to pick up some questions on what's going to come next and how does this work. So for now, indeed, we have received more than the expected number of proposals. This has been great, although as discussed, we don't stand by all of these proposals being in the long-term interest of the project. There's still a lot of open questions, right? So some of the proposals have been more high level, some of them have been working in more detail. We still need to flesh out details of how exactly these are going to happen. I invite you to discuss the details of those in the forum. I think Telegram is a little bit too short-lived for that. So I invite you to participate in the discussion on the HOPR forum, so forum.hoprnet.org, on the details of how exactly the launch is going to happen. After that, we are going to have the approval or going through a final vote of approval through the community and you, the HOPR DAO members, the HOPR Genesis DAO members again, before we go live with the final version. So a bunch of open questions on the technicalities that have to be codified, right? So what has been described in there needs more detail than what is in the current proposals. Let's jointly work them out. Let's come up with the final parameters for how we can launch it, and from then look forward how we take this towards mainnet. Yeah, so that is next steps on the next steps on both the HOPR Genesis DAO as well as the steps towards our mainnet and token release. I think we will be there. That's a question also on the timing of the mainnet launch. It depends all a little bit on what exact proposal, how the exact proposal for launch is going to look like. So of course the smart contracts for that have to be coded. The setup for that has to be completed. So there's still some work. I think we're talking about weeks here and not months. So I hope that we can complete all of these preparations in the coming weeks. Yeah, so I think with that we have addressed a number of the questions out here. Again, I do understand that some of you had different expectations for how this is going to go down. I'm sorry for having disappointed some of these expectations. At the same time, please do see that there's people who are working on this protocol for whom this is not just a hobby to run a node, but for whom this is a job. And having that interest in the security of that at heart is really what we're trying to do here. It's not on us to try to screw anybody. It's not on us to try to dump on the community. The lockups of the team members are, as you might have seen in the token allocation, longer than for any other members. None of the people on the call here have any liquid tokens for at least a year from now to come. So, yeah. With that, I would like to conclude the session. Thank you all. We are around the forum and on Telegram if you have more comments, feedbacks, and suggestions how to go forward from here. You will hear from us in short time. We'll prepare a wrap-up article, also a blog on what's next. Thank you very much. Any other comments, remarks, things that I forgot from the team?
Thank you very much.
Not in my. Thank you. I needed to coordinate it. No, not on my side. Just again, a big thank you on the support so far. From an engineering perspective, we couldn't be able to get so far where we are with your support and your help during all our testnets. And as Sebastian mentioned, regarding the DAO, I think from a technical perspective, we're gonna be sharing some details on the breakdown on what do we think this approaches, an analysis, so to speak, from an engineering perspective in all these different approaches, just moving forward to give a little bit of transparency on what's going on in each approach. From engineering perspective, we keep pushing everything to the protocol to make sure that the product and what everybody has been investing, not only in terms of time, but also money, it's worth, and at the end of the day, that the product that we're building is actually useful, right? Because I think the crypto industry sometimes still a bit plagued with a lot of projects that don't show anything. And there's something that I'm very proud and very grateful for working with everybody in this company, is that we are pushing something that is tangible, right? That every day we are actually pushing a technology that it's very needed nowadays, and that it's not something that we're trying to do just because it sounds good or it's another DeFi project. I understand that in this bull run, everybody has economical interests at all, but I think been in the crypto industry for some fair share of years, what I can tell you is that the projects that are going to really last and that are going to be the best return of investment, not only from a product perspective but from an economical perspective, are the ones that have a solid use case, that have a strong community, and that the product is strong, right? And we need all of you to do that. And I'm very thankful and grateful for the skilled people that I have with currently at HOPR to be able to build that. So that's it.
Cool. Thank you, Jose, for that. Wonderful. Thank you all. We'll see you around on the usual channels. Stay tuned. Bye-bye. It's a pleasure to work with all of you.